Welcome to Business Spotlight. I am Rob Andrew, and today I am delighted to be joined by Aneela Rose from Rose Media Group. Hi, Aneela.
Hi, Rob. Great to be invited to talk to you today.
Excellent to have you here. Aneela, maybe a good place to start with. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Sure, of course. So my name is Aneela Rose, and I am the managing director of Rose Media Group. We are a PR and marketing agency based in Burgess Hill in West Sussex. And we are a small team of 7 people. And this year we celebrate our 20th birthday. Can you believe it, Rob?
Oh, congratulations. Oh, that's some achievement.
Years. 2 decades, my goodness. I know it's like, 2024 is our year, really. Yeah, set up the business in 2004. And who knew that kind of 20 years later we'd still be here? Yeah, it's been a great 20 years, which I'm sure we're going to unravel during this chat.
Well, definitely, maybe that's a good place to start. Maybe explain a little bit, perhaps, about that journey, the ups and downs, and lessons learned.
Oh, yeah, it's a big question, isn't it? I think I look back and honestly, I feel as though I have been through every possible emotion that a human can feel. Because 20 years is quite a long time, come on, it's quite a long period to have your own business to still be going, to having been through 3 recessions during that time. We had 2008 was the biggie. We then had COVID, 2019, and then now, kind of 2023 post-COVID, it's really tough. So, and we've been kind of through those periods and we've come out of them. Certainly the 2008 crisis was a big one, but we actually were winning business during that time because companies were realizing that they really needed to invest. They couldn't just stop their PR. And I think that was the big learning for me, that actually the right companies to work with are the ones that do appreciate and value and understand PR. And that was huge for us back then, because that was very worrying. It was, goodness, I had agency friends and other business owners that were losing business, they were closing down in 2008. And that was, it was quite a crisis back then. But that was a big learning, that actually, if you're high quality, if you've got that integrity within your business that you've built up,
Hmm.
and obviously in PR, it's about image. You've got to be trusted as a company, as a brand. It's what PR is all about. So for us as a company and as an individual, I learned very early on that I really needed to make sure that my reputation was intact, that the trail that I was leaving behind, that journey, what people were seeing, feeling, experiencing while working with us was very solid and strong. So for me, that's been really interesting. But I mean, I've experienced happiness, sadness, and everything in between, from joy and excitement to extreme stress. That over the last 20 years, it's just been phenomenal, I would say. And you know what? Despite all the hardships, the barriers, the challenges, the tears, the I don't know if I'm good enough, I don't know whether I should carry on. Despite all of that, it's those moments that you win, those winning moments that you look back and go, yes, yes, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I need more of that. I am good at what I do because my clients are telling me, my staff are telling me, my support network are telling me. So yes, I've got to carry on and I've got to believe in myself some more. And I think that self-belief is something that I have learned. It's taken me a long time, because even as a successful entrepreneur, which I'm actually comfortable saying now, kind of, it's taken me a long time to actually say those words, success, that I'm successful. I'm at that point now where actually I've had enough people say to me now that, Aneela, you're still here, you're going strong, you're all right, you're good at what you're doing, and I'm like, okay, all right, well, maybe I have got this. Yeah, it's good. So yeah, I think, just answering that question of yours, I think that journey has been immense and I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly, Rob.
That's brilliant, Aneela. Superb. There was lots of value you just mentioned there. If I can
Okay.
pick up on a few of those, though. Self-belief. I mean, absolutely, it's critical. And I'm glad you feel comfortable now to be able to talk openly about that success. And so you should, 20 years. We always hear the figures of something like 80% of all businesses go under within 3 years. So 20 years, that is the definition of a successful company. So
Oh,
really well
thank
done.
you. Thank you.
And it's interesting. You really led on to what's kept you going, and you talked about winning moments. Um, and and a winning moment for you is to just describe what is a winning moment for you, though. Well, just describe that.
A winning moment. I think for me, it's clients being happy with what Rose Media Group is delivering, and it's making a difference to them. Quite simply, sorry.
Making a
It
difference.
really is that. And I think a lot of business owners would say it's when they win business that's
Hmm.
important. But for me, it's a little bit more than that. So yes, it's about winning business.
Hmm.
For me, it is about the reputation and how people view not just me, but the business, because it isn't just about me. And that's something I've learned along the way, that perhaps in the beginning it was more about me because I was a freelancer. It was
Hmm.
just me on my own. So it was about me building up the trust in me, people understanding who Aneela is and what I'm about. And I think those winning moments is when clients and my staff and my support network, they get Aneela, because I don't really sit still. I'm a little bit nuts like that. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are, I'm a bit, and I've always got something in my mind. I've got this creative firing range in my head constantly. It's how I'm wired. And that makes me a bit different, I think, because I see opportunity everywhere. So when people get me, and I can pick it up quite quickly because they will respond in a really positive way back to me. That for me are winning moments, because I think, right, yes, you get me because you've now got a smile in your eyes. Your body language is now telling me that you want more of me, that you want me to keep talking, that you want to hear what I've got to say. Do you know what, Rob? It isn't that what we all want? We want to be respected, we want to be liked. Maybe, well, liked, I think it's just being understood is what I'm trying to say. So when someone
Hmm.
gets you and understands you, for me, that's like, yes, I feel now this is a relationship that's going to work, and we can work together. And that's a very powerful thing, which I have learned over the years. And that leads me on to my support network that I've mentioned, that without recognizing that I couldn't do it alone, then I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I think my support network and the associates that I have, I've got about 18 different associates that I work with that are in my
Hmm.
network. They all get me. And that is extremely powerful for me. And it's the reason why I'm still going 20 years on, because I knew I can't do this by myself, but I can only really work with people who understand how my head works and how I physically work as well, because I work very quickly, I think very quickly. I have to. It's the nature of my business and the nature of the PR industry. So yeah, it's been really interesting, yeah, over these years.
Anita, thank you for that. It's really clearly explained as well. The recipe was was out there, so thank you.
Great.
Interesting connections. Yeah. So you mentioned a few times here that importance of trust,
Yeah,
your reputation, but certainly coming back to connections. And let's be honest, it's true. It's whatever we think of business and how technology, seems to be taking over our lives. The reality is business is still people to people,
people.
and you need to be able to make those connections. So
Yeah,
really good stuff. You're extremely busy. You're always thinking quickly, you explained. So can I ask you, how do you manage to balance all of that energy you put into work with your personal life, with home life?
yeah. So I had some really great advice years ago from a friend of mine who who just said something very simplistically to me. He kind of was listening to me about me struggling in the early days. I was like, how do I fit everything in? And how, when I was just myself and one other employee way back in the day when I first started, like within 18 months of setting up, I got my first employee. I just found it really hard to juggle everything. And he just listened to me and he just said, well, what you need to do, because I do a lot in sport as well. So I was trying to fit in going to the gym and working and my family. And he said, well, you need to just diarize everything. You need to write things in a diary, a physical diary. Back then, I didn't have a smartphone like 20 years ago. And treat everything as a business meeting, because you'd never bomb out of a business meeting, would you? So put your gym sessions in, put your anything like your friendships, your going out with friends, put it all in your diary and write it in pen so you can't rub it out, and treat everything like a serious business meeting. And you know what? I've held on to that to this day, and I still have my file of facts, believe it or not. I have got my smartphone, obviously, and my Google calendars and everything, but I've got a file of facts and everything goes in it, and I write things in pen and everything is scheduled, and I have a routine, and I make sure that everybody in my circle that's involved in my schedule knows what's kind of going on. So kind of everyone's invested in that. So with my team, they know, I share my calendar with them in the team meeting, so they kind of know where I'm at, where I'm going, what I'm doing, what my priorities are. Things that I don't want to be doing is also very powerful for them to know, things where I don't want to be spending my time. My family know what I'm doing all the time. And so I'm highly scheduled individual, because I've got the three elements to my life. I've got my family. So I've got two children, 14 and 10-year-old, and a husband. I have obviously my team at work and my company, and then I have my sport. And so I describe it as having three cogs in my life that are all interconnected. And actually, in the middle, and he's going to cringe when he hears this, is actually my husband, who he sits in the middle. It's not me. It's not me in the middle of those cogs. It's my husband, because without that solid rock and support, I wouldn't really have the childcare. I wouldn't have, just keeping everything ticking over, really, in terms of the emotional support that he gives me, and obviously the physical support around the childcare and just helping me. So, yeah, I don't do it alone. And that goes back to one of the points that I've been making, that you can't do it alone. That's really the biggest takeaway that I'd say anyone listening to this podcast. Yeah, we like to be superheroes. Yeah, I've been called superwoman. But you know what? When you enlist the help of other people, and I think for me, I think I've looked at who I need in my circle to help me do what I do, and I think there's a number of different people, and they are my mentors. So I've got a couple of mentors, like PR agency owners that kind of who've gone into kind of mentoring other people. I've got my peers, so I've got people that are actually doing the similar thing to myself. Um, I've got experts in my circle. They know things that I don't. So whether that's kind of some technical digital marketing things or whatever that might be. And I've got local people that I know, local talent that come into that mix. And then the other thing that perhaps I'll be looking for in the next few years is perhaps an investor. So, you've got a number of different people in that circle that I think really help to cement the whole structure of my life, really.
Aneela, that's fantastic. You gave me a lot of detail there, and the listeners a lot of detail there. I mean, I'd go right back to where you started your point there, which was the wise words you were given at an early stage in terms of how to balance your life and ensure you had structure in your life, and you had that balance with home and work. So indeed, very wise words. Having a default diary as you are, and treating it was interesting what you said, treating every event as if it was a business meeting. So, I guess like a sales meeting, you wouldn't take a call in the middle of that meeting. So why would you do it? Or family event. So brilliant stuff there. Fantastic. And wonderful team. Absolutely. It's not all about you. It's about team. Who's in your team? Make sure you have influence as the people that are going to get you to where you want to go. Make sure they're part of your inner circle. So brilliant advice there. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Aneela, so you've got mentors in your life at the moment, and people within that inner circle, but maybe even going outside of that, perhaps who or what inspires you at the moment?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it? I am asked that quite a bit, and it's a really hard one to answer, actually, because there isn't probably one individual. There aren't particularly famous people that I kind of look up to, apart from one within the sporting arena. I would say, if you really push me for someone that I would really be impressed by and I just swoon over, I suppose, in every respect, would be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Actually saw him in conversation at the Royal Albert Hall recently, and he's not just a sport. I know of him through sports, really. other people might think of him as that actor, or having gone into politics. But for me, it's the sports side of it, because sport is a huge part of my life, and it affects how I perform in business and how I am outside of work as well. My sport infiltrates everything because of the mindset that's required in my sporting life. So Arnie is someone that ticks the boxes, and crosses over all of those areas, really.
That's a great one. I was not expecting you to say Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
Oh, really?
that was when you said a sports that it's funny. We don't think, do we? Well, some of us don't think, I suppose, as bodybuilding as being sport, but of course it is. Yeah, absolutely. So interesting. Can you maybe expand a little bit then in terms of what sport does for you as a business owner? How it gives you perhaps an edge? What exactly? You talked a little about mindset, but maybe expand a little bit on that.
So I'm all about breaking barriers down and that glass ceiling. Actually, from a very early age, I was always out to prove that if you say to me something isn't possible, I'm going to prove to you it is. I'm going to do it twice, and I'm going to take photos to prove it can be done. That's my whole that's how I am as an individual. I'm all about, not only kind of proving to myself that things are possible, but also to other people that you might think that you can't do something, or that thing isn't possible because either you've been told it's not possible, or you just think you're not good enough. And I think my whole being is all about inspiring other people. Look at me. I get people to kind of look at me, and when I kind of tell them what I've done and what I've achieved, they often don't believe me. And I think it's about, right, that's you've judged me and you've stereotyped me, which is very natural, and we all do it. I do it. You just do. You make a judgment call on someone very, very quickly. It could be
Yeah.
the way they look, the way they talk, how they're talking, all of this. As I say, it's a natural human thing to do. So sport for me is something that you have to be highly, highly disciplined to do. And if your head is not in the right place, you are not going to succeed. I'm a highly competitive individual, so sport really suits me. I like individual sports, not team sports. So for me, it's about me, not about anybody else. So I just focus on me. And it's really important that every business owner, every entrepreneur does something for themselves. It's not being selfish, it's actually quite the opposite. And I've seen it firsthand where I've kind of put myself first. And actually, it's my husband that's actually encouraged me to do this, because he's seen the benefit of me doing my sport and actually coming home and being happy, energized. It affects the whole family when I'm in a good place. And so he's encouraged me. And again, this is going back to him being that person in the middle that's really
Mhm.
helped me. In business, I inspire my team because they see, oh, Aneela's running a business, she's got a family, she's also going out and training 5 times a week. Wow, if she can do it, I can do it. Exactly like what you were saying earlier. And I love that. And I think as I'm getting older, I've been in business a long time. I want to go out and educate people. I want to share my story and say to people, do you know what? You got this. You can do it. Don't do it alone. Look at me. I've done it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. But you have to have the right mindset. And I come into work and I skip into work. I've got energy. I've got attitude. I've got a bit of sass about me in a positive way. And I think I want to get noticed because I want my clients to like me. I want my clients to obviously spend money with us, because at the end of the day, I'm not a charity. Rose Media Group is a business. Um, and in order to be liked and respected, to be admired, then I've got to work hard at making sure that I am living up to a reputation that are going to encourage people to want to follow me, to want to work with me. And actually, if I can do that, then it's going to make me feel really happy and feel like, yeah, actually, I'm all right. I'm doing good. I'm good at what I do, and that's a feel good factor, right? Which means I'm just going to like my life a bit more. And I hope that I will exude that positivity, which is kind of what we need, because life's really tough right now. Life is really hard for nearly everybody. We've all got really heavy stuff going on in our lives. So if we can just lighten it up a little bit through positive individuals and journeys like I'm able to share, then great. Then that's really what it's about for me.
Well, Aneela, I can definitely tell you exude positivity. So so thank you for that. And yeah, I'm really interested in your answer there, because that it's interesting with sport, and you mentioned the word discipline, because that, you know, that crosses over, doesn't it? It's business and sport, but obviously sport, you know, you have to be disciplined. The training, you have to train if you want to achieve anything, if you want to get any better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
business, of course, is very much the same. So, you know, and sport giving you the energy, you know, that energy to come in, because that's important, because having the energy means you can then deliver at your best. So superb answer, very clear. Aneela, so okay, let me take you back then. If you were to give advice to your 18-year-old self about to embark on their career, whether it's in business or just in work, what would it be? What would be that advice you'd give?
I think I would probably talk about understanding that you aren't in control of everything, and that's okay. You can control your decision making.
Mm-hmm.
You can't necessarily control the outcome, and that's okay. I think being able to start something, I think, is also something that I would say to my younger self, that rather than waiting for the perfect time, just start. And it's okay if things aren't all in the right place, but just get off that kind of block and just get moving. And yes, going back to the control side of it, yeah, you won't necessarily always know which direction it's going to go in. You can have that vision, but just get started and then just see where that's going to take you, and just go with the flow of what's happening. And I think go with gut instinct. For me, my instinct has always been pretty spot on, because I like to think that I'm quite astute when it comes to people, because I'm obviously working in an industry where you have to be very self-aware. You have to kind of be aware of who you're talking to, how you're talking, the words that you're using, the kind of connotations, because you'll get a different outcome depending on how you react and behave and talk, because every client is different. They're in different sectors. They have different needs. So I have to adapt to each of those situations. I can't just be the same person in every scenario. So I think that's all okay. So I think there's a number of things there that I would probably say to my younger self, that perhaps I
Uh,
wasn't aware of in the
uh,
earlier days.
and I really took that one, basically the leap of faith. You know,
Yeah,
quite often there's never going to be the perfect
no,
time, and then you end up procrastinating, and
yes,
you never
yes,
make the step. So
yes,
really great advice there. You know, sometimes it's just about trusting in your instincts.
yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Aneela, let me just perhaps change the conversation a little bit towards Rose Media. So if you look forward
yeah.
5 years, what's in store for Rose Media? What are the plans? What's going to happen? What are we going to see?
Okay, so that's a great question, because we never really know. But I do have a vision for Rose Media. I mean, I'm not scared of restructuring. I've restructured the business 3 times in the 20 years. You know, I've actually changed the company name. We've changed the direction that we're going in, and I'm not scared of doing something different, something new, having a different pathway. So moving forwards, I think we will be a generalist agency, not a specialist. We've gone through the whole journey of being more specialist, and I think it's been a mixed bag, I think, for us in terms of how that's gone down and how it's affected business. Moving forwards, I think I can see that the skill set that we have, not only my own skill set, with the team I have, the group of associates that work with us, and the network that we have got such an amazing eclectic mix of skills that all complement each other. So I want to utilize those more. I want to work more with my associates and collaborate. It's all about collaboration. Whenever I'm asked about competition, who's your competition? Who are you up against? I can't answer it, because I work with other PR agencies. I love working with other agencies because we learn from each other, and I share so much. I'm very much a sharer in terms of knowledge and expertise. And I think, again, that's another reason why I'm still here 20 years on, because I don't shy away from working with other people that are doing the same thing as me, because we're not doing the same things as each other. We're not, because they're not Aneela and I'm not them. So invariably, you've got different people running businesses. You are going to be a bit different. So moving forwards, I think we will continue to work in the automotive, aviation, retail, food and drink sectors. They're the sectors that we have got amazing campaigns that we have delivered, exceptional results that we've been delivering. We're still working with some clients 18 years on, some of our clients that we're working with. And I think the average length of time now is, I think, 13 years. So that's pretty good going. So we're doing something right. So continuing to work across multiple vertical sectors within the B2B space is our forte. We do work within the consumer space. Rose Media does work within leisure and tourism on the consumer side. So a lot of the campaigns we do are targeting the public, and we do very, very well with that. But my background is actually aviation. Well, within manufacturing and engineering, I'm kind of technically trained within PR and marketing within the aviation sector. So anything that's quite not quite any work that is requiring evidence-based approach is really what I'm about. So it's about the data, the stats, because it's very easy to make claims in PR, and that can give us a bit of a negative reputation that we're a bit sensationalist or a bit controversial. So with the B2B side, we try and base everything on the evidence, the data, the stats, to prove that what we're saying is actually correct. And then you can't move away from the facts, can you? And then that gives you the integrity that you need within the PR space, that people then can't, criticize you for. And that's something I've learned in PR, that PR is one of those areas that people tend to glaze over a bit when you say you work in PR. So I try and cut through that and say, look, all the stories that we put out to the trade press are evidence-based. We do our research, and that actually sets us apart quite a bit as an agency, because we spend quite a bit of time on any campaign before we start doing our prep, so that we know the subject before we pick up the phone. And yes, we do talk to journalists. We do still pick up the phone, believe it or not. We don't just hide behind emails here. And if we've done our research and we talk to a technical journalist, say, let's say within the automotive sector, I like to think that we're having a very intelligent conversation with them, not just a fluffy, quick, fly by night, quick pitch to them. It's not like that here.
That's Aneela, that's fascinating. Your description there, and looking forward to going, really looking at being generalist, and is that because being a specialist in your sector has restricted your growth? What would be the reason that you're now looking at?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think so. I think when we did start to go down the route of specializing a little bit more, let's say just within automotive or just within aviation, there started to be a bit of a conflict of interest, is what we found. So like we were like targeting other companies, let's say within the automotive sector, and we would find that they would be asking us who else we're working with, and it could be a bit of a conflict if they're in the same sector. And so we had to kind of turn away business. And actually in the food sector, we had this as well, where we were working years ago with a couple of cake companies. And then because we were doing such a brilliant job, getting them so much coverage in the trade press, we were getting contacted by other biscuit and cake companies. This was a number of years ago now, not so recent. And we had to run it past our existing clients, who were then saying, well, no, you can't take that work on because they're a competitor. And it was like, oh, okay. So we've been put in that situation a number of times, and it's a very uncomfortable situation for us to be in. So I just felt like I wanted to step away from that and just almost pick and choose who we work with. So we love as an agency working with a small number of clients. So we're a small agency, we work with a small number of clients, but what we do is we work on long-term relationships.
Yeah.
And we just, choose one or two clients within a particular vertical market. And so hopefully there's no kind of conflict there.
That's clear. No, thank you for that. Okay, final question. Any announcements, upcoming things you want to share with the audience today? Please tell us about it.
Announcements. Oh, I don't know, Rob, actually. Might want to edit this bit out. Oh, what's new for Rose Media? Not necessarily for Rose Media, but I have launched a new company.
Oh, okay. Why not share that?
Are you sure? You might want to edit this bit out because Okay, so I do have some news in that actually only yesterday we made the formal announcement that I have actually launched a brand new company. So it's actually within the more of the consumer space within leisure and tourism. So I've launched a new company. It's called Go Lark, as in the bird lark, and
Yeah.
larking about. And it's a new online experience finder for Sussex and Surrey. And I've been working on it for about a year, and it's kind of born through our experience that we have within the leisure and tourism sector at Rose Media anyway, and my own personal frustration of trying to find somewhere to go using an online site that was up to date, authentic, had correct information. And I just was so frustrated not being able to find anything locally online that this idea has come about. So we've launched it. We are a member of Tourism South East, and we are actively networking now across the area. We are looking at bringing on what we are calling larkers. So this is kind of a reviews-based site that we're relying on. We're inviting members of the public to actually go off and review venues and experiences on behalf, and sending us the reviews, and then we kind of vet them and then add them to our site. So it's kind of authentic, it's up to date. So
Yeah.
really excited actually at kind of at Rose Media, because Go Lark is kind of powered by Rose Media, which is actually really nice. And there is a little bit of a link, but they are two separate companies, but it's really exciting, and we launched it formally yesterday. But yeah, feel free to go and have a look at
I definitely
golark.co.uk.
will. I definitely will, Aneela, and good luck. I mean that's great. Just launching yesterday, so okay. Well, a big thank you for your time, for your wonderful sharings. Really inspirational. Just talking you to for these 25 minutes or so. It's been really insightful, very interesting, great story. And I wish you continued success with Rose Media, and of course now with Go Lark as well. And I'm sure we'll speak soon. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you.